Pokémon is a media franchise owned by the Pokémon Company, a Japanese consortium between Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures. It is centered around fictional creatures called Pokémon, which human Pokémon trainers catch and train to battle each other for sport. It sounds awful, but I swear it's really fun. Ever since the franchise began in 1995 with a pair of video games for the original Game Boy, it has grown and thrived to this day and now has 7 generations of video games, as well as an anime series, manga, trading card game, movies, loads of merchandise, and even its own version of Monopoly. Over the years, Pokémon has touched the lives of millions and is one of the most successful media franchises of all time. But the latest and most unique addition to the franchise is the augmented reality mobile game, Pokémon Go. I grew up during a time when Pokémon was the coolest thing an elementary school boy could be into. I can still remember the binders full of trading cards my friends would bring to school, and the action figures we used to collect. Needless to say, Pokémon was a pretty big part of my childhood, just as it was for many other children of the 90s and 2000s. Every 10-year-old's dream was to become a Pokémon master, and I can remember wanting nothing more than for my favorite pocket monsters like Charizard and Pikachu to be real. Then, on September 9th, 2015, the first trailer for Pokémon Go was released, and it seemed as though our wish might actually come true. The hook of the game was that you could travel the real world to track down and catch Pokémon using mobile devices' GPS capability. Using the augmented reality feature, you could actually see your favorite Pokémon in real-life locations. It was to be an unprecedented marvel, a childhood dream come true. Although Pokémon could never be real, this was about the closest we'd ever get.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. Repeat, this is not a drill. Literally today, on the App Store, the Pokémon Go app went live, and we are about to play the game that literally, as a kid, I would have died for. An app that allows you to roam around in the real world, capturing Pokémon, battling people. It is unreal.
Look at this. There's a Vaporeon that spawned right there, so everyone's running. Oh my god.
Thanks. Buy all the things. Okay, let's buy all the things.
On July 6th, 2016, Pokémon Go was finally released after almost a year of hype. The game quickly became a global phenomenon, shattering all previous records of popularity of any app in history, and more than doubling Nintendo's stock value in a matter of days.
Well, the most simple thing I can attribute its success to is the name, Pokémon. Pokémon is a huge brand that has existed for at least 30 years.
Pokémon Go was a huge intergenerational game, so people who were, say, even up to 40 to 6 years old have been playing the game or are playing the game. And because of that, when Pokémon Go released this new game that's easy for everybody to play, you don't need a device, you just need your phone, then everybody just went crazy because they was able to combine everything that they used to love, every part of it, into one game where they could do it in their daily lives.
I think Pokemon Go was such a big success was because it was something new. There was games on the phone where you just click on stuff and level up, but it made you walk around, and it was really interesting and not a thing that's been done before.
Even here in Halifax, no one could escape the Pokémon Go craze. Places like the downtown waterfront and Point Pleasant Park were packed with aspiring Pokémon trainers. On August 7th, the city held a Pokémon Downtown Takeover, where local businesses downtown worked together to create a Pokémon-friendly destination as a way to attract customers.
Whenever I go downtown, there's always all these people that you can see playing, and you can talk to them about the game, and you just have this instant connection to anybody else playing the game.
It truly was an amazing concept, and for a while it seemed like Pokémon Go had taken over everyone's lives, myself included. Unfortunately, despite its initial success, Pokémon Go didn't last long. By the end of August, around 10 million daily active users had abandoned the game. Summer is now over, and places that were once crawling with players are virtually deserted. This was to be somewhat expected with school starting and the weather turning cold, but why was there such a dramatic decline in player interest after such a short period of time? As it turns out, there were several other factors in play.
I think it was because it was a fad. Like, it was big at first, but then once everyone started realizing, like, oh, it's the same old game, they just stopped playing it.
In Pokemon Go, each player chooses one of 3 teams and competes for control of Pokemon gyms, which are situated at real-life locations such as public art installations, monuments, electrical boxes, and businesses. The Pokemon battle system in the game is extremely simple compared to the one used in all previous Pokemon games, and essentially just involves tapping and swiping the screen as fast as you can. Aside from catching Pokemon in the wild, that's pretty much all there is to the game.
The trailer showed a lot of things that didn't end up in the final game because they were too hard to implement, used too much data, took up too much space, or were just not really what the game designers intended. And so as a result, what we got was not quite what was expected. People were promised a trading system, and
There wasn't much new stuff being added to the game. Like, you find Pokemon, you walk around, get Pokeballs. Yeah, nothing really changed.
Another problem the game faced was that players who lived in more remote places such as small towns or suburban areas have a much more difficult time than those living in big cities. Pokemon spawn less and there's much less diversity.
There are only 3 Pokemon, man! Weedles, Pidgeys, and f***ing Rattatas! These 3 Pokemon are all RC wherever I go! What happened to the other 148? Where have they gone?
Important in-game items are dispensed from Pokestops, which are situated at real-life locations much like gyms.
However, if the area you live in is too suburban or too rural...
there simply isn't enough things to hold player interest, other than running around the town and catching level CP 10 Rattatas for 30 hours. There's nothing else to do. You can travel the world to find new Pokemon, but that's really expensive and no one can afford to do that. So other than the gyms and running around Pokestops, there's nothing to do.
Another Pidgey? God it!
Alright guys, let's go catch them all!
I eventually decided that the only way to truly test these claims was to embark on my own Pokemon adventure.
I play Pokémon Go every day. I play Pokémon Go. I play Pokémon Go every day. I play Pokémon Go. When I wake up, I'm grabbing my phone. I wanna catch them all. I wanna play Pokémon all day long, all day long. I play Pokémon Go every day. I play Pokémon Go.
Alright, so I'm back from my Pokemon adventure, and just from walking around my neighborhood for about an hour and a half, I was able to catch 3 Pokemon, encountered 2 Pokestops, and 1 gym. Let's see what happens when I go downtown. So we're here down by the waterfront, and as you can see, there are hundreds of Pokestops down here. It's crazy. And we're gonna try and catch some Pokemon.
Many players voiced their concerns about the game to Niantic, the small American company that developed Pokemon Go. But their lack of communication angered the community, and soon enough, even die-hard Pokemon fans were abandoning the game. Niantic's stubborn silence indicated that they didn't care about the amazing product they had created. So, is Pokemon Go really dead for good?
I think if they add in the trading system that they said they would, and add in more Pokemon, people will come back to the game. But right now, as it stands, there just simply isn't enough content to hold player interest.
I think there may be some bounces back when they add new updates, maybe with the next generation, but I don't think we'll ever reach full capacity as it did.
If they improved the game and made a new release, that would be awesome. I think it could get better.
Pokemon Go has been sinking ever since the end of the summer. It's gonna need a lifesaver if it ever wants to come back from the depths.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause.